Alrighty guys, what's going on? My name is Blitzwinger, and after countless emails and countless comments, you guys have asked me to do the review for episode number 3, so I don't mind doing it, and honestly I think we're going to make this a weekly thing where every week we're going to watch the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode, and then I'll bring you guys a review so that you guys can enjoy it, and bring me your, basically, opinion and thoughts. So today we're going to be discussing episode number 3, which is titled Turtle Temper. And of course, once I heard the name of the title and the preview from last week, I knew it was obviously going to revolve around Raphael, because he definitely is the turtle that has issues with his temper. And right off the bat, what I want to discuss is a little bit of the negative thing, and that is, unfortunately, it definitely felt like the episode kind of slid off in terms of, like, it didn't feel like it was very significantly eventful, but at the same time I feel like the character development, especially of course for Raphael, was actually really well done. So basically this is like the obligatory cartoon series does the episode for the particular hero. So this episode obviously focuses around the red Ninja Turtle, which is of course Raphael, and the idea around this episode was basically how the turtles are out there on the roof scouring the of course Krang, trying to find out where April's, I guess, father is, but at the same time there's a little bit of almost no mention and no attention to that factor, which is why I felt like the episode was kind of weird, a little bit of a weird drop off from last week, where I felt like this particular episode is going to focus on something along the lines of where they keep hunting down for Krang and figuring out in terms of like what it is that what's the reason behind Krang kidnapping all the scientists, what is their purpose on Earth. And unfortunately they did not quite address it. Well, let's be honest, they didn't really address it at all, so that definitely felt like a little bit of a drop off. But that being said, like, if I had to give this episode a rating, I'd still probably give it an 8. So back onto track, basically the turtles are scouring the rooftops and all that, but then all of a sudden there's this guy who runs up on the rooftop after Raphael and Michelangelo get in a little bit of a fight, where Raphael gets mad very easily, which again emphasizes the idea that he's got a low temper, and then a hot temper I should say, probably. And then this guy comes out who's absolutely annoying and ugly as hell, and he starts like addressing Raphael in negative connotations and kind of keeps insulting him, and then Raphael finally snaps and just kind of like goes off on him until all of a sudden the Krang show up, and we see the turtles get into a fight with the Krang, and the guy makes a funny joke where he's like, "Oh my god, these are like some kung fu frogs or something," and that definitely got me a little bit of a laugh. And we see them fight, but what happens is that this guy whose name I cannot remember for some reason, damn, what was the guy's name? I don't remember. Sorry about that, guys. But basically, after that guy realize what's happening, he's filming them on his phone, and the turtles realize, oh crap, he's got us on the phone, and now someone knows that we exist. And basically the guy starts kind of blackmailing the turtles in terms of like telling them, oh, what can you guys offer me for this footage and all that. And okay, so that basically sets up the idea. Then when they get back to the sewers, Splinter says that Raphael needs a lesson and basically needs to understand that his temper can cost the team a lot of grief, and he gives them kind of a lesson, an old lesson, which I really liked, where he says something along the lines of like, well, basically he explains the idea between him and Shredder, how Shredder kept poking at Splinter, and that's what really made him explode, and then he beat Shredder up, and then Shredder came back and got revenge by setting the whole place on fire and causing, of course, Splinter's wife and kid to die, which is very unfortunate. But again, we're getting a little bit more background in terms of the feud between Splinter and the Shredder, which is awesome, because it definitely does kind of a build towards obviously what's going to be happening in the next episode, which is finally the Shredder is going to show up. And the intriguing thing was definitely how Splinter really started to relate with Raphael. It's almost like at some point Splinter was very much like Raphael, where he was very tough and all, but he had a hot temper. And basically that's what he says to Raphael. He says to him something along the lines of like that it was Splinter's fault for letting Shredder's words become weapons. And Raphael really kind of seems to take that to heart, and basically as a result of that is able to return into battle and help out his turtle brethrens, who at this point were getting into big trouble because they followed the Krang basically and got to their base and whatever. And upon getting to the base, in the midst of trying to rescue the guy who had the motion camera because the Krang kidnapped him, basically they by mistake hit these like, of course, the toxic type thing, mutagen and all that ooze, and it gets on the guy and he turns into our new weekly enemy, who is titled as Spider Bites. And again, it is Mikey who gives him a name, so that's kind of cool. So how there's almost like a pattern starting to develop, where on the last episode Mikey gave the villain a name, it was Snakeweed, and on this week's episode he gives him another name, and he gives not the same hero, not the same villain, the same, oh my god, can I get this right? Not the same supervillain, but a different villain, another name, which is Spider Bites. So it's great how they're starting to develop kind of a pattern, with Michelangelo being the guy who gives titles to the enemies and really kind of establishes what their name will be and all that. So I kind of like that. And basically, as they get into trouble because they realize that Spider Bites is quite a handful, and he starts really dishing it out, and they're in big trouble. But then, bam! Here comes Raphael Returns after basically his kind of like training session and being able to calm down with Splinter, and he comes back, and then bam! He basically is able to overturn the battle, help him out, and really, it definitely signified how important Raphael's role within the team in terms of, especially from the physical perspective, where he really is like the toughest fighter, so they definitely do need him. But at the same time, it is his temper that gets in the way oftentimes and causes him to make mistakes that can cause the entire battle to go haywire. So I definitely felt like the episode did a great job of establishing Raphael's character within the four brothers. I wonder if they're going to continue the same kind of pattern where like they'll do maybe the next few weeks are going to focus on the other characters, or maybe they'll do like next week is a little bit more story driven, then the week after that we'll get another like character spotlight type episode. And that basically kind of was the main idea of this episode. So we had definitely some cool action scenes when all the fights were taking place. Again, looks great. There's definitely some funny stuff, and then of course at the end of the episode, which was funny, again, Mikey pisses Raphael off and he still snaps on him and starts beating him up, which was definitely funny. And again, really does a great job of also establishing kind of like that brotherly relationship between Mikey and Raphael, more so than between any of the other turtles. Of the typical like older brother and younger brother, how the younger brother keeps poking at the older brother because in reality he really wants to be a lot like his older brother. So I definitely like the dynamic between those two, and especially as it's been evolving. And then of course we got the preview for next week's episode, which looks very cool. It seems like there's going to be almost like two Shredders, one guy who dresses up like Shredder and then Shredder. Mikey has a really funny scene where he's like, "Do you love pizza?" And he says, "Oh yeah, I guess so." Oh my god, we have so much in common. So yeah, I'm very looking forward to the 4th episode of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from Nickelodeon. And if I had to give this episode a particular rating, I would go ahead and give it a solid 8 out of 10. So it's definitely a solid episode, but definitely not quite as strong as last week's. And the main reason for that is I felt like they almost kind of ignored a lot of the key points. I mean, April was not present, and there was just some factors that I felt like almost felt like this would be an episode that would work really well, like let's say 15, 16 episodes in, when you have and can do like kind of like a filler episode, but at the same time have it be a really fun episode. So I definitely felt like I would probably enjoy this episode even more if it wasn't coming right off the premiere, which was the 2-part episode, and didn't have kind of a lot of cliffhanger topics that were not very much addressed in my opinion. So let's hope we get some cool stuff in the next episode. And by the way, I want a figure of Spider Bites. He looks freaking amazing. And there you have it, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button, share the video, favorite the video, do all the good stuff you guys always do. And of course, I always love to hear what you guys think of the particular episode in the comment section below. Let me know if you enjoyed the episode. If you did not enjoy the episode, put all that good stuff in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys with another review next week. Thanks for watching. You guys are freaking awesome. And Kawabanga, or Booyakasha, I guess, is the new catchphrase, right? See you later, guys. Hi 3.